Do you also feel the world entering this space?
Mm-hmm. So
I want to touch on what Kian, what you just said, because what I got when you said that was like that is about being in the future somehow. Like I'm here with you and I don't feel the world in here, you know.
Thank you.
It somehow feels related to like my like where is your center?
mm-hmm. And is it a question to Kian so he answers?
No.
Okay.
For you.
I was sitting like the last minutes, I was sitting here with this question of Jesse, what you shared, and it being a bigger question for me about, you said that there's parts of you you're hiding to yourself and you don't know if it's safe for them to come out if I'd say if this is spreaded, like, and or maybe
Well, can I just say what I said before, or because like, yeah, or what I meant, what I want to say,
please,
is that, and then you can respond to that, which is that in this space in the past, when it wasn't being recorded, I said things and I kind of I pulled things out of myself that I never had pulled out in any space with anyone before. And I don't know if I would have done that if I knew that it had been recorded and going on YouTube. And I don't think so. I mean, I don't think I would have. Just don't think so. It's possible, but I don't think so. But what I'm saying in that is that, you know, I don't know what layers are still here. There's so many more layers that are still here that I keep getting new layers revealed to me all the time. And it's not like some of those layers I'll do at a cafe with a bunch of people standing around. And then some of them I'll need a different type of space. I'm not going to do all of those layers at a cafe with everybody who in the world that can see it and can be spectators or can be however they experience it. I don't know. But I don't certain types of processes, I probably just will need something different. You know, like I'm not going to do every process at a sports stadium, you know? And so like there are certain processes that I'm scared that I won't be able to, I just won't go there. I might not even know that I won't go there. It's just that I won't. You know, there are parts of me that are going on here that I'm not aware of. And that probably will be the way it is for my whole life, I suppose, because I think that's just how we're built. There are all sorts of things going on here in other layers. And yeah, and I'm scared that putting this into the public sphere will limit possibilities of what I might be able to bring or access. And I might not even know that that's happening. I might. And if I do, I hope that I can bring it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So thank you. And thank you for letting me put it in my own words, Marcus.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. And I noticed myself that in me right now that because the record button is on, that I'm really checking with more deeply with myself about how to respond to you, or what to, that there's these questions that I want to ask, and I notice myself being like, wait, is this the right question? Am I doing it the right way? And somehow I like that. I'm enjoying the process of just taking an extra breath to ask, where is this question coming from? What is, what part of me wants to ask this? And is this really useful for the space?
Hmm.
Want to go ahead and ask it?
Well, the question I have is like, yeah, what is your purpose here in this space?
Yeah, my purpose here in this space is to journey with you towards archetypal manhood.
Mhm. Does having this recorded and sharing it help to serve that purpose?
I think it serves a different purpose.
Jesse, can you, I want to check with you if you, do you have a story about recording?
Only that by recording it and putting it on YouTube, anybody and everybody in the world with YouTube can see it and might see it.
What happens if that happens?
Mhm.
Can you be more specific? With like, can you ask a more specific question? Because anything could happen, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to answer that. I could make a list.
I heard you saying that if we record and distribute that in YouTube, we have less possibilities in this space. And for me, this is a story.
Well,
You're scared about it.
I might have less possibilities. That's my story. Is I might be limited or limit myself. Yeah. And
This is a story for me, and I want to check if you see it as a story too or no.
it's more, I think it's a fear. And there's a story attached to the fear. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. A fear that I will hold back or not go to certain places or not reveal certain things because of knowing that this goes everywhere.
So
Yesterday you gave me a possibility to withdraw the feeling from the story and feel it in your body. Can you do that?
I think it's an emotional healing process to do that. And I will do the emotional healing process.
thank you.
I'd like to share an experience from this weekend, from this Sunday, 2 days ago. And it is not to bring a solution into what we're just discussing. My purpose is that it brings some sensitivity to it. And so what I experienced was I was touching a big, like a lot of sadness while I was outside with a friend. And I noticed that I was walking around for a couple of minutes already quite numb. And at some point I decided to let come what is there, to let the feeling come. And so we just sat down on a path, like in the fields where people were doing, like having walks for, like from the city. And so I sat there and I wept for maybe an hour, like in waves. I cried, and then again I sobered and cleaned, and then I cried again. And just doing it, I could sense every time that someone was walking by, I could sense them from like 10 meters away, how the space is shifting, and how their bodies, like how their, especially their physical and their emotional body, how they intuitively opened and silenced and made space for me crying there. And I could also kind of like, it felt like I could hear the intellectual bodies being in fight with that. People having what, I don't know what stories, but I could sense it energetically. There was something changing. And it was a practice for me to stay with me, like with my feelings, to stay with me and to not to open my attention too much to them. And it worked in a way. In a way it worked. And yet I could, just from what I heard you sharing, Jesse, I had a big part of empathy to, well, there might be some layers that I did not show like 2 days ago out in the fields, because it was just like, because I needed all my attention, or I would need all the attention I have for these layers to come out, to feel safe enough. And only by only by them being there, I already pay attention to them a bit more. And this just withdraws attention of the space that I can hold for myself. And so that is the experience I'm walking with, and nothing of it is good or bad. It's just I'm empathetic to it. It creates results. Like circumstances create results. That's basically what I get out of that.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcus. I feel joy and a sense of relief and sadness just hearing you say that, because I feel less, somehow I feel less sad in the space. I felt a kind of alone in the space before you shared, and scared that there was a story in the space that that I just need to do emotional healing processes and make this, shift, so that I'm not going to have emotional fear about sharing all my layers. And I don't think it's that simple. I don't know if anybody has that story, but I don't think it's that simple. I think that there are consequences to recording the call. Maybe for all of us, I don't know, but certainly for me, a lot changes, and I'm scared about those consequences.
Thank you.
And the next thing thank you, Jesse. The next thing I'd like to name is and I'm naming it because I'm scared that it unconsciously has power in this space. And it is this, that it's kind of like it sounds like an accusation that you're not, who are you if you cannot be authentic, no matter what circumstances are around. And I'd like to withdraw that, like I want to consciously withdraw that pressure, I'd say, from us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Jesse, I'd like to share my story with you. And my story is that
Wait a moment. Are you receptive, Jesse?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well, like and I invite you to be really authentic about it. Like, is it?
Yeah, I am receptive. Like my gremlin doesn't want to hear your story, but
Yes.
I'm not
Okay.
letting him choose.
My story is that practice makes possible, and that instead of that somehow, like what I heard from you is about wanting to be like perfect, like the most expressed, the most this in a given moment, and to forego the practicing part of it.
Jesse, Jeff, do you have a question, or like, what is
Yeah.
it?
What do you think about my story?
I think that there's another story embedded in your story, which is that I have an objective to be the most expressive or the most perfect or something like that. So the story of practice makes perfect is
Possible.
possible, right? And then the other story about, there's another story in there, and that's about this. It's a story about what I want. So I think about it, and I feel scared about that you have a story about what I want that you didn't call a story. But you kind of, instead you put it into another story.
What do you want?
Can you be more specific?
Well, you said that I have a story about what you want. So I want to calibrate and know from you what do you want?
I want this to be this space. I think you're asking what I want from this space, or what
Yes.
I want, how I want to be in this space. Yeah. Yeah. I want this space. I think it's more important to me that this space is optimized for the five of us and who joins this group than it be optimized for the rest of the world. Yeah.
Thank you for
And by
sharing.
optimized, I mean like I want to create this type of space. What is the space that I want to go on and create for men too? Like I'm asking myself that question. What is the space that I want to create? Maybe drawing from what we discover here. And so I want this space to be as held and as safe and open and clear and as it can be. Yeah. And so I will question, like, or challenge anything that compromises that, or that might compromise that. I don't know that I don't know that, like, so far I'm not aware, this is being recorded right now, and I'm not aware of anything that's come up for me that I'm holding back. So this is an experiment. I don't know the answer, but my fear is just I'm trying to listen to my fear about it.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm noticing about myself that when someone like has resistance or doesn't, or says, has resistance, that my story is that there are no for it, and that like you want to like make sure it doesn't happen, And yeah, that's
What are you feeling under that?
anger. Yeah, I feel anger. I feel angry because yeah, because it doesn't align with what I want. Or yeah, that you'll try to block me from what I want, how I want to run this, or how I want this to go. And it blocks, and that is like blocks me from being in connection with you and just exploring it with you.
Mm-hmm. So you're actually angry out of your assumption.
Yeah, I feel angry that I have a hard time connecting with Jesse, with you, about your resistance, and that I'm just trying to convince you.
Mm.
Thank you.
Mm. Thank you, Jeff.
I want to share a story about that might also be a distinction about recording something that I feel valuable for the space. And that is somehow when we record something, we are inviting.
I have a short break.
Thank you.
Could you take your purpose first? Because just so you're clear.
My purpose is
and especially what it feels like. What it feels like energetically, for like meaning also here in the space.
My purpose is to create or name a distinction that might relax the space, or might or gives a workability with something that is going on in the space. And that is I can't hear you, Jesse.
I just said I'm okay. Keep going.
Yeah. And that is when I said I feel like the world is entering this space. To me, there's a really energetic sensation to actually now what I say, what everyone says, will in the future speak to people out there. And these people are already in some way here in this space with us. And yeah, and even when I take away this frame of time, like even when I say, okay, it's not in the future, but right now what I say will echo in the world, or is an echo into the world. And that really scares me. Like I'm feeling really, I feel more fear because of this. But it's kind of this alive fear of speaking to more people that makes me more alive, and makes me somehow connected also to the people that might listen to this. And I wonder, or my possibility for the space is, what if we connect to that sense of, okay, right now this is a space that has an echo into the world, and connect to the quality of that, and have it as a live distinction in the space to work with.
What I see it from your share is the old and the new map of responsibility.
Can you say more about this?
Yes, that this being recorded and shared increases our level of responsibility, that this will be shared and this will serve others, and that it is not a burden or a you know, anything on the old map of responsibility, that this actually is fun, and it is empowering, and it gives us more, each of us, me, more to work on, more to see, more to connect to. It feels archetypal in some way to
Yeah.
me.
Thank you. I wanted to say something similar with this. I feel that makes this space a service, like, and this is some, I feel like this is somehow serving my path, that it's not like, or more like it, like this space is creating value not only for us, or not only for me, not only for us, but for something else as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that somehow I can sense that space of value creating opening with the pressing the record button, basically. This story maybe that creates the sense, but I feel like that's happening.
I have a question for the group that somehow connects with what Kian was saying about service and the service of this space to the world. When I was about to join, I was having lunch with my wife, and I shared with her that I was scared to be here again, not be here again, to be in a man circle again. I was scared because I had a story that it was going to be the same than the burning patriarchy. And she questioned me, what is the problem to be the same? And I said, I miss the transformation that this space create in my life, actually create in my life. I don't want to have this space and go back to my life. It's equal. And what questions me, the question that I want to bring is that recording this create more transformation or less transformation in the world? Or somehow when I see Jess, the fear that Jess brought, now I see something like, oh, I can transform less myself here, so I can be, I cannot be the person that I could be outside if this is the recording zone. And if the service is the rule that measures the value of this, does the recording affects the transformation that this space creates in each one of us?
So, Mateus, you asked two different questions. One was, does this affect the transformation in the world? And then you said the transformation in each of us. And I think those are two very different questions. Which one do you want to ask?
I want to ask in the world because I am part of the world too.
Yeah. So my answer is it very much increases the transformation in the world.
How do you know?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't have an answer to that.
And that is something that I'm perceiving, like in talking with you, is that is the flavor of some fantasy world about what this men's group is gonna create, and then there will be these waves of da 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 da, and so that I hear that, like, it's in between. It's not the thing that, like, not the only thing that I hear, and I can taste it. Like I can taste the mission in it. And from my experience, I've often stumbled on these flavors. And so the next thing is for me is that, okay, well, if this is the case, if we have some fantasy world and some reality in here, and in either way, like, we only create transformation with transformation. So like when the bright principle of transformation is here in the space, it will be here. And if it will not, it would not be here. And so on the result, like, we cannot cheat on us, because whatever we do here, it is going to create. And we can also go with the feedback. I mean, whatever the feedback is going to be. Yeah. So just what for that, like, also for your questions, Mateos, is I'd like to not name it into the future what this is going to create, because essentially I don't know. And I rely on, there's this thing coming up of radical reliance. I rely on our capacities. Like, we all have the capacities for transformation. So, and for also the bright principles that we called in. So I rely on them.
So I have a question for the space, and my question is transparency a part of the DNA of this space? Or let me ask a bigger question. Is transparency part of the principles of next culture? Yeah, this is a big question I have.
Is it part of your next culture, Jeff?
It is part of my next culture. You know, one of the values that I've held within me for a long time is that if I can't say something in front of the whole world, then I don't know that I should even say it. And that statement has two parts. One is checking with myself about why I want to say something, and the other is to do the healing processes to free myself of the survival, like protective patriarchal thing where I have to, like, be careful about everything that I you know, all of my vulnerabilities, or whatever you call it, that I have to protect myself from being or attacked or killed or something like that.
There's today is my day of images. I'm having the third image, like, and so the image that is just coming from what you said is, when I look into nature, in some countries I see certain types of flowers. So in Switzerland there's Edelweiss, and I have to go to Switzerland to see Edelweiss. I will not find it in probably not in Czech Republic, and also not in the Ukraine, and also not in Portugal. And it has a, so whenever I want to see Edelweiss, or someone is telling me, hey, you got to see Edelweiss, it's this special flower, then I have to make these moves and go and get there. And this also already prepares me, maybe in a way, of, okay, to this country, or to what I'm going to see there. And it makes my experience of the world diverse. Like, and I know that there's some things that I will not find there, and some other, so it stays miraculous in a way. And this image was just coming up as an answer, basically. And I'm scared to be how do you say it? A no for what you were saying. It's just like, this image was coming as a, maybe it's also a beautiful thing in the world to have these, let's say, precious places where things are and belong.
Marcus, when you're sharing, jumping to like a different space when you name like 5 European countries. And I started to ask myself, like, oh, we are here, we are 5 men, and I started to ask myself, what is that, what I am already scared of sharing this video to the world. Like, we are all white, all like connected, like in a Central Europe way, speaking in English. And we would call this a men's circle. This is a fucking Ku Klux Klan. It's closer to a Ku Klux Klan meeting than a men's circle. And like, I was questioning myself, like, would share this to the world, make it clear those things, would make clear for us the things that we are bringing and we are not aware, like our bad things, our not bad things, but our most shadow things that we bring in ourselves and we don't realize.
I have an experiential proposal for now, and it would be so that with your hands, you basically, with if you have your hands closed, it means that you don't feel connected in this space right now. And then when you have your hands open, basically it means that you feel fully connected. And in between you have like, there's this scale. And to just do it like for 2-3 minutes together and to check how, like, where are you standing right now? And while we are talking about this.
Can you say a little bit about what you mean when you say connected in this space?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so connection is one experience from that you can show, and the other would be also like, am I experiencing here what I want to create with you? How much am I experiencing what I want to create, what I came here for to experience? The other proposal is that I have is also that came from Jeff about, well, what about we still work with the topic of sexuality that I meant to bring into this space from last week. And the third proposal I have is that to also hear Mateus, as we shared it when we were the four of us in this round, about like what brings you here, like what makes you being here in this group, wanting to be here, what do you stand for? Yeah. And
I'm gonna just say what the first proposal I am a yes for. The second proposal, because we only have 30 minutes, I'm a no for. And I want to add on that a logistical concern that I have a fear club that starts at the very end of this meeting, so I'll be leaving a little early. And then the third experiment, or the proposal that Mateus speak, I'm a yes for.
I'm a yes for the first proposal, and I would like to add on to that afterwards, sharing about like what is in the closed hands. And I'm also a yes for hearing Mateusz, even though I heard him. Yeah, I had calls with people before, but I'm glad to hear it again.
I am the same. I am a yes for the first and yes for the third, no for the second one. I am more yes for the first one. I want to do something experiential.
I propose that we do number 1, and then if there's time, we do number 3.
yes, me too. Okay. So I propose we kind of like split the 2 questions, because it was 2 questions. How much do you feel connected in the space? And the next is, how much do you experience right now, or in this session, of you created or we created what you'd like to create in a group of us? And so, yeah, just let's take a deep breath together and go with the first question of how much do you feel connected?
I cannot see your hands, Kian.
You just bring them closer together, Kian.
Mm.
Thank you.
Mm.
I realize that I feel less connected if I feel scared to be less connected. Like I'm feeling that.
Yeah, I see that everybody has more fingers up than me, and I'm like this the social pressure, like the wanting me to go up, but yeah, noticing that yeah, somehow maybe this recording thing is a new experience that's making the connection a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, how about we just complete the round of what is in your closed hand?
So,
Can
is
you
that a
repeat the
question?
question, Marcus?
It's a proposal that we complete the round of what is in your closed hand, like what is in the closed hand.
I'll go first. I felt in the closed hand. I felt scared since we opened up the question of taping or recording or not recording. I have felt this fear that's not just about, well, first it was a sadness that at first I didn't, I sensed that I was trying to be convinced of otherwise, that it should be this way, and that if you know, and then I was scared that we were entering into presenting arguments in a debate. Here are the pros and here are the cons. Here are the reasons for doing it, and I felt like we were kind of in a competition or in a debate where there would be one winner and one loser in that debate, or there would be winners and losers in that debate. And then I felt this disconnection, specifically from you, Jeff, and somewhat from you, Kian, and as if this was now, we were on different sides of a debate. And that was a lot of what I felt in my disconnection, was this like, oh no, are we entering the territory of winning and losing, or, you know, or, and then I want to also say what it was in my connected hand, because I also felt a connection that then there were some things that were said, I think by everyone, where it was like, oh, okay, the energy is flowing here. This is alive. This is an important conversation. And yet by the time we had this experiment, I still sensed a kind of like, a line, a dividing line between one way and another way.
Mm.
Yeah. There's a lot of story in there.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to share next.
Thank you.
Yeah, I felt fear, or I feel fear, to have kind of created this competition, or this is how it's right, this is how it's done right. And I could also sense this, this line, or this, for me it's more a pain. It's a pain of not being with you, Jesse. Sadness of not being with you, or having the sense of not being with you. And yeah, I think there's in my closed hand a lot of sadness about, or there's sadness in my closed hand. I feel sadness about because I feel sad because
Will you stay with us with eyes open? What is going on, Kian?
yeah, it's like I feel sad because I really want to be with you. I really want to be without these stories or walls that I put up, or this competition. And I still feel that this competition is there. This I'm right is there, and uh, uh, yeah. And I want to do it my way, something like that.
Thank you.
I feel angry because I have seen this space be in a very mental body, in the mental body, and I haven't done anything to make it different. And that I have, yeah, like somehow doubt my seeing and my clarity, and that has caused this big disconnection for me. And yeah, I'm like I'm like stumbling over my own feet to figure to see what how I can take responsibility for this mental body experience. And I feel sad that this is how it goes for me in these spaces, where there are men that I see as powerful and doing their work.
Seems like there's something missing, or like something else. You feel sad because you're with men that you see as powerful and doing their work.
No, that I feel sad that this is how it goes for me in spaces with men that are doing their work, that I'm not, I didn't say anything
About what, Jeff?
about the intense mental body like experience that was going on. Like I've seen all of us, myself included, looking up all the time and having the center in the mental body, and I'm scared to even say that. I'm scared. I'm scared to bring it into the space. I feel fear of being wrong or something, being told I'm wrong and being like excluded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I started the exercise with the experiment with only two fingers down, because I felt that, at least for me, the space was different. I show up different. I use more anger and fear in this space to say things, even though I don't know how to say them, or even though they might sound ugly or not understandable. And I was feeling connected, because it was it is extraordinary conversation, and things will change. After this call, my life will change. I will never be in a place recorded as I was before. And then I went down because I started to feel disconnected, because I started to pay attention on what I was feeling and started to lose connection with you. I started to evaluate me, and then I went to only two fingers up. And then Marcus proposed to do the exercise to make the sharing moment. And then I am back to 6, at least 5 now, connected. And I don't know, it created a story, and I want to share with you. I don't know if it's useful or not, or it's a map or it's a story, but there is a caution, a red sign saying for me to pay attention if I'm not paying too much attention in me, to lose connection with you, and then make to blow up the space. Yeah. And I'm here.
Thank you, Mateus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had in my, like in the closed fingers, I had especially this, it's like a stuffing, as if in this debate that has this taste of right and wrong, it was about stuffing one person into the one jar of this is how it is, and then also like answering in stuffing, and it is very subtle. Like it's something that I sense very subtle and powerful in this group. And I think what made me feel disconnected was about that I could feel so much things going on, and also was in this game, and they didn't have a name. Like they didn't have, like, or they only, like, from time to time they got a name. And so I felt disconnected because I was living in 2 worlds. So there was this one world of, we were just like kind of talking and saying what we felt, and then there was this underlying layers. And yeah, I felt often angry and then scared as well that something takes over, like that this underlying layer, and basically the hidden purposes take over. Yeah. And what makes me especially then disconnected is when I don't know how to deal with that. When I feel I'm like, okay, I don't know. I can only watch, basically. I don't know how to step out of it. Yeah, thank you. Oh,
Thank you.
well, one more thing. So, and the open fingers of connection is that I sense already. I sense the wanting. I sense the wanting, like in the space of wanting to be together, and 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 this is somehow it's a force I can sense, and that brings me towards you, and also the feeling of it brings you towards me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Marcus.
So we have about like until 7 or no, until full clock, it is 10 more minutes. And I also will go to the free club, so I would like to leave 5 minutes earlier. And my question is, especially like, who would like to hold space next week? And also if there's anything like to say to sum it up, like to sum up this round, especially about will we keep recording or not? So I'd like to answer these two questions.
So I just want to say, like, from the very beginning of me expressing fear about it, that wasn't saying I don't want to record. I just want to make that clear. I just saying that these are my fears, and I don't know whether or not I'm not a full yes for recording, but I'm not a full no either. So I'd like to continue recording. It's just I'm okay continuing recording. I'm okay continuing recording. I know that there are treasures in recording this. I think that there are treasures in recording this. I don't know. And I just want to also say that in my expressing fear, I felt really sad at first. I felt really sad and disconnected at first. And I felt sad about the competition that I saw coming up, and I felt scared about that. And yet there was also my gremlin was present too, was here too, wanting to like, once it turned into there's one side and then there's the other side. I noticed my gremlin wanting to win. I just noticed that. I just want to kind of acknowledge that was here, and I feel really sad about that, actually. Just that part of me still has just, it has so much will, and I feel sad about however that part of me created disconnection in the space. And so I just wanted to say those last things.
Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to just say that because it came up, and I notice in you sharing, Jesse, that somehow I've made the conclusion before that competition happened just on my side, and it all, like, to play that game it needs two. And yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I just want to say that my gremlin came up because I felt sad about my fears not being heard. That was the story that my gremlin had, was that my fears weren't heard. Instead, they were objected, and I felt sad about that. And then my gremlin came up to say, well, I'm gonna push back, you know, and maybe my fears were heard. Actually, I don't know that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll share the biggest goal that came up for me is that when someone shares resistance, that I turn it into combat. And so I feel a lot of joy about this clarity, and somehow, yeah, I'm just really glad about seeing that and getting a more clear perspective on that strategy of mine.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
So well, the first thing is that I'll just state that we keep experimenting with recording, and so my proposal is to go with that instead of making it again a debate about if we record and how it is to record, and to then have the space holder hold space for what he is holding space, and to also keep it as an ongoing evaluation if anything's coming up, as we said, like if you need to erase something or like show yourself with what you need to show yourself. And the next question I'd like to have answered is, who's going to hold space next time?
I'll hold space.
Yeah, thank you.
I won't be here next week. I'll be in a training.
Oh, I will be on a flight.
So 3 sail this.
Yes. So I'll leave the space, and I think I'll just close it, except if you want to stay in and talk, then I'd like to hear it now.
No.
Okay. Well then, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Kian. Thank you, Matteo.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.